Good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day Eve. I wore my red. It's kind of sparkly, so I'm trying to be festive. Although candidly, Valentine's Day, not so much of a holiday that we go crazy for. I think when my kids were younger, we did, and I remember as a kid myself, the good morning, everybody. Jay and Pam and Susie Q and Diz Deb. I think I said hi to everybody else before that. But I remember as a kid, Valentine's Day, and well, back when I really remember, we all were supposed to bring in one brown lunch bag. That's what you were supposed to bring in, plain, and then we would decorate it in class, and then we would tape it to the side of our desk. And then things got a little bit more elaborate. I think with my kids, they started to do boxes, and you could kind of create your own. So then it became the creative DIY competition fest for who had the best kids Valentine's Day bucket or bag or box. Anyway, but happy Valentine's Day Eve. I do have my Valentine's Day mug. Now, candidly, I got this at Walgreens the other day. I realized I didn't have any that were Valentine's Day-ish. So the coffee time has given me permission then to go grab a new mug every once in a while when I see one for the holidays. It's going to be weird though, because when St. Patrick's Day happens, like we don't do anything for that, and so I guess I'll have to go buy an Irish mug. Oh, you know what? Maybe we have one. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do our mug from Ireland, from when we were actually there. Anyway, so good morning, everybody. This is my second cup of coffee. See, I just nuked it right before we started. Eric's over here making sure everything is all set. Now behind me, I mentioned this last week. We rearranged the furniture here in my office. This blind behind us has been giving us it's very frustrating. However, we did meet with the blinds people, and hopefully next week when we do our coffee time, we'll have the actual retractable shade down that should help substantially. So my apologies if the lighting is not perfect. I know it reflects off my glasses every once in a while. But we're I kind of maneuver, so I think we're pretty good with all that. Allie says we did shoe boxes, so yes, you did do shoe boxes. That's right. All of that was really fun though. Like with your kids, it was really fun. So I'm going to say this real quick, and then we're going to move on with the show. So there was this wonderful craft that I did for my kids when they were younger in elementary school, and I got it off of something. Now remember, we didn't have Instagram and Pinterest and all that stuff. So I must have seen it in a magazine, those old things where we used to communicate with people and share ideas. So it was, you would buy heart-shaped muffin tins, which they exist. I did have to order mine from somewhere. I don't really know how I found it, but anyway, a heart-shaped muffin tin. And then you take crayons. And yes, like Crayola crayons, you peel the little, the wrapper around it that tells you what fabulous color it is. And then you just basically crack them all up and you crumble them up, all the different colors. And then you put them in all of the different mixed colors. You put them in each of the little heart-shaped muffin tins. And then you basically, bake/melt them. And then they mold together to be this beautiful heart-shaped, multi-swirled colored crayon. And it was so cute. And so we would do those. We put them in little bags. I don't know if my kids remember that. Oh, Allie says she remembers the shoe, or Elizabeth says she remembers the shoe boxes. But for my kids, I wonder if they remember that, because that was quite an ordeal. It was not a super fast craft because it took a long time to get all the stuff off. But anyway, so I see everybody's kind of popping in. Let me make sure I say hello to everybody. Did I get it right? Tammy Bushama, hope you're feeling better, my sweet friend. Ron Cheryl, yes, Denise and Ben. Good morning, everybody. Geraint and who else? Rob. We saw shoebox. Yeah, shoeboxes, Rob. You take a shoebox and then you'd cut a hole in the middle of the top of the shoebox, so you made it like a little mailbox. And that's what the kids would stick the Valentine's Day in. But then again, there was like this big competition thing. Like some people would do just a little card, and then some people would do a card with like a little thing of sweet tarts like taped to the top of it. And then some people would do like a whole bag of candy and a little big swirly cue. Candidly, that was us. We usually tried to do something super nice. Not competitively though, just, we wanted to be nice. Anyway, Ben, have you had an espresso? My wife gifted me one of these. Let me see if I can put your comment up there. So yeah, have you had an espresso? My wife gifted me one of the fancy machines for Christmas. Nespresso is my go-to now. I don't think I have that. I don't know. Allie, you can chime in. We bought Alyssa something for Christmas, and I don't think it was that, but it was something super fancy, and she does love that. So I don't, but I'll have to look at that. Is it for iced coffee or hot coffee? I'm not an iced coffee person. But if it's hot coffee, then I will check that out for sure. So anyway, so that was kind of my little Valentine story for the kids. I was thinking earlier about what I remember of it. And as a kid myself, I just remember it was fun because you all got like a card and that was it. And then it just kind of progressed and progressed and progressed. And then the carrier of those became bigger than just brown paper bags or lunch bags. It became bigger. So anyway, so Kim, you just said, are those red lights behind you for Valentine's Day? Yes. You guys know my husband. He loves the lights, and it's fun to be able to kind of get the coloring and the lighting right. He usually tries to get that for either the holidays or what I'm wearing or whatever else. But oh, he's changing them. So now that you asked,
Now he's screwing around.
He's standing right there. Now he says he's just screwing around. Okay, so anyway, so yes. And by the way, can you imagine our pool area with all of these hue lights everywhere, where it's just like you just play in, like here's a scene and there's a scene. So yes, he loves these lights, and thank you, dear. He just put them back on for you, but yes. Anyway, so well, good morning, everybody. If I did not happen to say hello to you yet, hey, Greg, Odie, how are you? Oh my gosh, and Gray Wandry. Oh my gosh, all my people. Oh, John and Terry. Okay, your post the other day, or your question to us about the squatter was hysterical. Sally, hello. You're on the East Coast today, so I'm here. Yay, very good. We're happy you're here. So thank you, everybody, for joining. We have a lot to talk about today, and I know I talk a lot in the beginning, so I'm just going to start out by saying Happy Valentine's Day one more time, and now I'm going to get going on to the show. So we have a lot to talk about, lots of little segments here and there, a couple of new things we want to add on to. So let's go ahead and get right into what is brewing. Oh, good morning. Okay, so real quick, Jane B, I'm gonna come back to your question here in a little bit. So when I search through questions, I'll try to answer your question. What's brewing? Okay, so first of all, my coffee is really good this morning. Like, you know, that day where it's just right. Like, you just did it right and you're proud of yourself, because not every day is it right. Well, today I'm proud of myself because it's just right. Okay, anyway. And when I say just right, I mean the right temperature with the right ratio of my my hazelnut creamer to the coffee. Anyway, all right, home bowl. So obviously yesterday was the Super Bowl. I'm going to be completely honest. I watched not a second of it. My son Dawson had some of his buddies over, and they were up in the media room and they were having fun, Papa John's pizza and snacks, and they were having a good time. And no longer am I the mom that gets to kind of play hostess. Pretty much I'm just not supposed to be seen at all. So that's what I did. I just went and hibernated and watched some more of my shows and did some work in the room. Other room. Eric was watching, I think, the football game downstairs, and again, the boys were upstairs, but I would hear them kind of yelling at each other back and forth about, did you see that? So I do know the final outcome. I'm not even going to discuss it because the Bengals weren't in it, and so, you know, I'm oblivious to what else is going on if the Bengals aren't playing. Anyway, but on that note, and in celebration of that, and by the way, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Is that right?
Boo!
Boo. Oh, I'm just saying congratulations. I think we wanted the Eagles to win, but I don't know. Anyway, so I will say, but based on the Super Bowl, we did put together for funsies the Home Bowl, and this is going to be a competition between homes in Philadelphia, homes in Kansas City versus, we're throwing in homes in Orlando. So we're going to see kind of what that looks like if they're competing. So the median price in 2022, so this is for last year in Philadelphia, was $242,500, which was down 5%. Kansas City, 2022, the median home price was $242,500, so very, so similar, but it was up 2%. And then in Orlando, the median home price was $352,500, which was up 4%. Okay, again, this is 2022. This is probably more important because this is more current. So in Philadelphia, the average days on the market was 54. Kansas City, 39, and currently in Orlando, it's 37. So you've got three kind of competitions there. when it comes to the days on the market. We're actually winning. Go Orlando. And there is another one coming up, which is the number of homes that were sold last month. And that's month, by the way. 1,045, Kansas City 524, and Orlando 591. So that is your home bowl. Eric worked very hard on that, and I think that's actually really cool. It's kind of a fun way just to kind of compare those three areas, and this will just kind of scroll back through. But at any rate, so I don't know if you were a Philadelphia Eagles fan or if you were if you like Kansas City, but we vote for Orlando. I know there's no team, but just saying. Anyway, so I wanted to pop back over real quick just to make sure I said hello to everybody. Oh, Forrest said boo. And Geraint likes the Chiefs. Very good. Eric trying to be a Vikings fan. There you go. Oh, Fanny, I got to put yours up. Oh, why won't it go up? Oh no, her comment won't go up. Okay, there it is. Fanny says that's a no-brainer. Orlando all the way. Quality of life wins. Yes, agreed, absolutely. And you know, it's been so beautiful here lately. We did have it was just kind of overcast a little bit yesterday afternoon and pretty windy. But it was still so nice. Like I opened up the window and that chilly air coming in again. I did sleep with the window open again. I think Eric froze, but we added another blanket, so I think he was okay. Anyway, so so we are going to keep on moving. So the second part of what's brewing today is where is everything? And Kim, I believe this was one of your questions about just kind of an overall map to kind of get an idea of all of these places that we talk about. You know, Orlando is large, and when you say Orlando, it's not like every home has an Orlando, you know, city zip code, right? You've got all of these other areas that are out and about and that surround it. And so when people are talking about Orlando, and candidly, when I'm talking to people like friends or family or whomever, and we say we live in Florida, and they're like, oh, where do you live in Florida? And I'll say Winter Garden, but just think Orlando, because you know, no one else knows where these other places are. So if I just say Orlando, it makes a lot more sense because everyone knows of Orlando and knows where it is and certainly has heard of it. Winter Garden, people haven't necessarily heard of. But that being said, we did this lovely map for you. Eric did. I'm not going to take any credit for any of it. But here is just a map for you to kind of look at. So as these things pop up, let's take a look. So obviously Orlando is marked, and you see that the Orlando International Airport. You just saw Mickey pop up, and that's where Disney is. So take a look. Keep this big overview happening. So you see Mickey and you see Horizon West. And so when we say Disney's backyard, you see why. A little bit further north, you see the main Winter Garden, like the downtown Winter Garden area. And a little bit over there to the west, you see Claremont. So then you're going to see from Claremont, you're going to see Mineola, and then Groveland kind of keeps on popping up in that direction. But we're also going to add in, because we want to go the other direction of Disney, and you're going to see Davenport and Kissimmee. So you see those areas that are a little bit more south. And then we popped up over there, you see Ocoee. By the way, it is Ocoee, not like my GPS says Ocoee, Ocoee and Windermere. And that's what the last one that just popped up is, Ocoee, and then underneath of that is Windermere. So you can see all of that related to Disney. Now over to the east, you see Lake Nona just popped up, and so did Winter Park. So now take a look at Orlando. You see the Orlando there kind of, you know, in the middle. And then you can see all of the areas that we kind of talk about and discuss are over here on that one side. And then, of course, we will also want to point out where Lake Nona is and where Winter Park is, because those are areas that people have a lot of interest in as well. You know, a lot of people will pop in and they're like, hey, you know, what about Lake Nona? Because of the Disney excitement and everything that's happening in Lake Nona eventually. And it's very close to the airport. So this is something, while we have this map in front of us, I talk a lot about with clients when we talk about areas and location. And I tell people one of the things, and I have had clients that have, by the way, I mean, you know, clients move to and from areas that they want for their own reasons. But when people are asking about, well, what's the difference between these places? I always point out that Lake Nona is closer to the airport. And the reason I point that out is because I have had clients that have purchased there and then moved like a year later because they weren't expecting the air traffic. And I think that is going to be dependent maybe on flight patterns and some other things. Obviously, Lake Nona is lovely. It's wonderful. They've got great schools, Medical City, the VA hospital. There's a lot of wonderful things about Lake Nona, but that is something that a lot of people don't take into consideration. So again, take a look at the proximity to the airport and realize that there are going to be times when you have planes flying overhead. Now, for me, wouldn't bother me a bit because I come from, Virginia Beach, Virginia. We've got like military bases all around us. We've got not only airports around us, but we've got like fighter jets and everything kind of flying up overhead all the time. So for me, I don't hear it. But for other people, I can sense where it might be a problem. So wanted to point that out. But now, so that's one scale of kind of where things are. But now let's take a look at the actual kind of the communities. So take a look at this map. So there we go. We got Mickey popped up again. And you see in the upper left corner, that's Mattamy. So that we're just going to kind of go with the builders. But that's Hawksmoor. And this is really the Horizon West area that we really have been focusing on a lot lately. So you can see up top, Mattamy, Meritage, and D.R. Horton. Those three communities exist already. Hawksmoor, Watermark, and the D.R. Horton is Waterlea. Huge, 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 beautiful, magnificent community. But as those other Ashton Woods, K. Hovnanian, MI, Toll Brothers, another K. Hobb, and Del Webb, and Taylor Morrison, you can see that as those communities are coming down, that is the Ovation Village that we've talked about. We've done some Sunday drives on. We're giving you updates. Thank you, dear. I'm giving you updates on that. So the new North Lake at Ovation is the Ashton Woods. Kind of across the street-ish, across Avalon Road is Winding Bay with K-Hobb. That one is sold out for K-Hobb. Rockwell still has a few homes in there. MI Homes is your Encore at Ovation. Sanctuary at Ovation is the new Dream Finders. West Haven at Ovation is Toll Brothers, where people have been waiting and waiting and waiting. Del Webb Oasis, the beautiful, magnificent 55-plus community by Pulte. Taylor Morrison, and you've also got Meritage Highland Ranch. So you've got so much happening. And again, the map, I think sometimes visually, especially when, everyone obviously can pull up a map, right? But being able to see kind of where some of these communities are. Yes, ma'am, Maggie? You can, sorry, that was our dog. You can see the communities kind of in relation to Disney and really how close it is. And we actually, when we pulled this map up, if you take a look, this is really funny. Take a look at the little dot that says Magic Kingdom Park. And look at Meritage Homes up there at the top of the screen. That is so close. It is so close, which is, in Watermark, they actually have an observation deck for the fireworks because it really is so close. So when you think about distance-wise, as a crow flies to Magic Kingdom, it's really close. So anyway, this is kind of a lovely way to kind of show you map-wise kind of what's going on. Hopefully, Kim, and it was Kim, right, Eric, that asked for that. Yeah. So Kim, hopefully that gives you a little bit more of an idea kind of where things are in location. To anything that might be important to you, whether it is the parks or whether it's Universal or whether it's the airport, beaches, whatever. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. Or downtown Orlando, because there's a lot going on. Wicked is at downtown Orlando.
And Amy, if anyone really wants to live there, what should they do? If they want to live in one of those communities.
If you want to live, Eric, if you're interested, call or text me 807-407-848-8042. He throws me off like that. Anyway, so so that shows you kind of the cities and the areas and the communities. And now let's go to our third What's Brewing, which is the market update. So this is all a lot of real estate related stuff, and hopefully it's super helpful.
This is another request.
Real quick, I'm going to look at this one real quick. Hold on. I don't know why it's taking me a couple of tries to get some of these up. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. Yeah, it's like if I try to do it, it's not playing nice.
Are you on Amy Solo?
Yeah. Anyway, Allie said, as a Waterlea resident, we have a clear backyard view of fireworks every night. Yes, you do, and it's so perfectly situated between trees. It's one of those unexpected, just happy accidents. And we're always looking for nice backyards or a nice view, and that was pretty spectacular when they were just building to kind of see where I think everybody went over at 9 o'clock at night to see how it looks framed behind the house. So yes, you are a lucky one. Yes, Kim, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad it was informative. So and things like that, please ask if there's something that we can assist you with to give you that better visual, especially for those of you that aren't necessarily here to be able to see things day to day. That's what we're here for. So certainly feel free to reach out and ask. Rob says the F-22 that shot down the balloon was from Langley Air Force Base right near Virginia Beach. Langley, yes. Eric's father worked at Langley.
First fighter wing.
What?
The first fighter wing.
First fighter wing.
You see FF on the tail. That means it's from Langley.
Okay, yes, FF, first fighter wing. Yes, so, so Langley is definitely close to home to us. Well, literally when we lived there and figuratively now. Okay, so anyway, all right, so let's go into our market update because, again, this is important stuff too. Okay, so this is some just general information, okay? So listings are up 112% this time from last year. That's up 1% from last month. So what that means is we have far more inventory right now, more homes out there available to purchase than we did last year, which is why you see things slowing down a little bit. So that's important to know. Listings are up. We have a lot more homes on the market right now than we did last year and 1% more than we did last month. Number two, the sales. Sales are down from last year, 33%, and by 23% from last month. So again, interest rates, yes, that's going to have part of it. And then you've also got, a lot of inventory out there. So, those two things can go together hand in hand, but more importantly, they're just not selling. Now, keep in mind too, we're in February. When we say from last month, I will say usually the holidays are kind of a slow time pretty much anywhere, as we've said before, because most people don't really want to move into a new home or sell their home around the holidays if they don't have to. So that one's always kind of a tricky one. All right. The average days on the market has doubled in the last year from 22 days to 45 days. Excuse me. Prices, the average price for a home in Orlando, is up 7% from last year, but flat from last month. So we are still, and this is why we talk about, people that are like, oh, crash, this, that, and the other. Every market is so completely different that what's happening in somebody else's part of the world is not necessarily going to be what's happening here. And in this area, it's such a desirable place for many, many reasons. And people want to have a second home here because they want to retire, or they want to live here full time because they retire, or they just want to downsize, or they want to start their family here, or they can work remotely and they want to work remotely where it's beautiful weather all the time. Or they've been relocated here for one of the other many massive, wonderful reasons to live here and work here. And so our market is knock on wood. It's usually pretty consistent. It's what's the right word? It flourishes, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it's a good place. So what we see here is not what somebody else is going to see in Boise, Idaho. And I don't know what Boise, Idaho's stats are, but I'm just saying there's, when people have an opportunity to move somewhere or to get a vacation home or to downsize or to retire or to work remotely, there are certain places that people are going to feel are more desirable. Anyway, that being said, that I think is part of why, even though the year before that, I think Eric said it was like 25%, which is huge. That's when it was cuckoo crazy. But being up 7% is still pretty daggone good. And then the inventory says, this time last year we had 1 month of inventory and now we have 4 months. So again, that's like the saturation rate with the number of homes that we have on the market. At any rate, this is some good info. I mean, we're I guess we like stats, but at the same time, Eric, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, to say there's 4 times more inventory, but prices have not gone down, tells you actually how strong the market is.
That's true. It's a very good point. So yeah, I mean, it's...
They don't know what I said, but...
They didn't hear that? They didn't hear that?
You said that's a good point.
So Eric said, we'll say it again.
You did just say it. The fact that we have that much inventory.
Right. So the fact that he said you couldn't hear him. I don't know. Anyway, the fact that we have 4 months worth of inventory, but prices have not gone down really says a lot. That's, I guess, really when you take all of those statistics and you kind of try to pull a little piece out of it. That's kind of what we're trying to say. Okay, anyway, so now let's go back to this. And now let me see a really quick couple of questions, because that was all of the what's brewing, I believe. Let me see if I got any. Okay. So Jane, so how did I lose the weight so successfully? Hand pink waving from sunny UK. Hello. You know, a lot of people have asked me about that. And what I think is, well, what's difficult to explain is that this is my normal size, but so many people only found me or tuned in or started following when, candidly, I'm at an age where your hormones go wacky crazy, and I'm not going to get into all of that stuff. But ultimately, people saw me much larger than I am, but this is where I have always been. And so I feel like I'm back in my regular body now. And so people are like, "Oh my gosh, you lost so much weight." And I'm like, "Well, I just got back to where I was." So I did go to my doctor, but Jane, candidly, I don't mind sharing my story at all, but they don't all want to hear it. So why don't you like either text me or email me, 407-848-8042, and I can tell you all about, you know, the doctor I went to and kind of what we did, just to get myself back in regulation. But thank you for noticing. And in regulation. Well, you know, your stuff goes all wacky. It goes kooky. And, you know, as women, we got a lot of mess we have to deal with when we get older. And so again, I appreciate everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight." And yes, I did. But what you didn't know is that I had gained so much weight. And this is, you can look back at pictures of me forever, and this is my normal body. So thank you for that. Anyway, so Greg, I've noticed I don't know why, guys, I'm clicking, but your comment's not popping up. But Greg Odie said, "I've noticed in previous videos that your lanai at your house has a retractable screen. Weird question, but does that screen count as a child protective gate for your pool area?" How did you do it?
Because the icons are bigger now, you got to click on the little thing in the middle.
The little thing in the middle.
Can we try something real quick?
Sure, Eric's trying something real quick. Hang on, Greg. Hang on. Stand by.
Look, that's that comments thing. So if you click it there,
oh, that's so cool.
Then they can see what your things are. But then you can go back to solo if you want. But then click that there. And I'll give you a button next week.
Okay. So Greg, so yeah, we added a retractable screen. Now the reason that we added that originally was because, well, first of all, we talk a lot about liking the outdoor space. And so we knew that it was going to take a year to build the pool. And by the way, we do not have the screen yet. We are still freaking waiting on that thing. It's really, really, really starting to get irritated. But anyway, we'll be nice. But because we knew we would do an eventual screen in lanai, we didn't want to do a permanent screen there on the lanai, because you can do the permanent screen with like a door. We didn't want to do that because we knew that, you know, eventually we wanted that thing all open. But we also wanted some sort of privacy, you know, a way just to kind of sit out there and enjoy it without the bugs. So that's why we added the retractable screen. But in answer to your question, does that actually count as the safety feature? The answer is no. We thought it might, but it didn't. So we still had to have all of the alarms and things like that. Now that's by safety code. For us as, you know, parents and one day, you know, hopefully grandparents, we still consider it a second barrier for sure. But that's not what, like, the actual county safety code will not count that as a safety device for kids for pool area. But it's a really good question. Okay, let me see. Where am I now? Okay. Ooh, Kim, good question. You always have the best questions. Do you like all week? Do you just kind of like find questions? Because they're always so good. What 3 or 4 areas would you say have the easiest drives to Disney? Okay, this is fantastic. So, easiest drive to Disney. Okay, so, well, first of all, Winter Garden, 100%, because we are right here in Disney's backyard. We, very quick and easy access, so obviously that's going to be on my list. Dr. Phillips actually has very quick and easy access to Disney as well. You know, Dr. Phillips, it's depending on where you are, it can be a little bit pricier. There's a lot. I mean, that area is lovely. We've done some videos. Phillips Grove, which was a Pulte community, gorgeous homes. Estates at Parkside was Meritage. There's a couple Toll Brothers communities that back in there that were newer. They're all closed out now. And then there are, certainly some other communities that kind of, float around. But I think Dr. Phillips has pretty quick and easy access. They come out more at the Disney Springs area. We come out more at like Magic Kingdom area. Let's see. Honestly, I think Claremont, like down the like Kagan Crossing, like that section of Claremont. But here's the thing. Once all those roads connect, everything in Claremont's going to be a pretty quick and easy access.
Serenoa.
So yeah, Serenoa, like the whole Sawgrass Bay, Serenoa area is going to be like just super, super, super fast. But that road isn't completed yet. So when it's completed, that will have quick and easy access.
And what community does Serenoa lead into in Winter Garden?
Oh my Lord. It leads into Ovation, dear.
Ovation.
Do you know how exhausting this is? So what we're saying is that so you have Winter Garden, you have Dr. Phillips, and you have the Claremont area. And then obviously, Davenport and Kissimmee, those are also super, super quick, close and easy drives to Disney. All of them kind of providing you a different type of a lifestyle. So that's what I think is kind of so cool about this. When I've got people that are like, oh no, I just want to buy my second home. I just want a vacation here, but I want it private. Then we go to certain areas. They're like, nope, I just want to buy an investment property and I want to use it whenever I want to use it. But other than that, I want to, Airbnb it out or short-term rental it. Then there's different communities that we kind of focus on in different areas. But hopefully that answered that question. All right. And then Ron. Okay, see if I did it right this time. Okay. I've been watching new home builders increasing prices at the same time increasing incentives to buy. Can you explain the strategy? Okay. Well, first of all, the incentives are the things, obviously, that the builders can always change, right? And they do all the time. So if they need more sales, they increase that incentive to get more contracts written. When it was crazy feeding frenzy time, there were like no incentives. They're like, you can buy the house or you cannot, because I got 10 people standing right behind you right now with their wallets open. So that's when they said, you know what, we don't need to incentivize anybody. So now when you're answering your question about why the prices are going up, but the incentives are going up. So as these homes in these new communities are closing, you have comps in there. And I mean, that's kind of the whole point of some of these new construction communities, right? Is that they start out at a base price. And then as the sales increase, that base price is going to increase as well. So they don't want to level out, and they definitely don't want to tank, because they're trying to establish and trying to create the property value within those communities. So they need to kind of continue to have it, stay here or continue to increase. Now, it's not increasing at the ridiculous rates that it was before. It used to be every 3 sales, $5,000 price increase, or every 5 sales and $7,000 price increase. Crazy, right? So now it's going a little bit slower with when they increase them, but they are still increasing them because they have these comps to support that price, and they're increasing that property value. It's still super desirable. And again, other homes all around that area are also selling. So as long as things are still selling and the prices are still increasing, then that price is going to increase. However, we are still dealing with some of the other difficulties with people in the mortgages and the interest rates. And so they're kind of increasing the incentives. And again, let's go back to that conversation we had a little bit earlier, that there's a lot of inventory. So back when it was the feeding frenzy, there was no inventory. There was nothing to buy. So as soon as something came on the market, people grabbed it and they didn't care what it was. They're like, I just need that shelter. Now we are back to the point where we've got options. A buyer has options. You can look in a community and you might even have a couple of options in that same community, whereas before there was nothing. And so if you ever got wind of somebody getting ready to sell their home, you would jump on it. And the builders also have, they've also got their own inventory, because they're continuing to build in many cases to have these quick move-ins, especially for the time of the year that we're approaching, which is spring. We have a lot of people that this is the time of year where they start to purchase their home or start to look for their home, because they want to be here and move either late spring, summertime-ish, so that they can be here in time for the school systems to start again next fall, which, remember, in Florida, we start, the middle of August. So for some people, they're kind of on a little tighter time frame. So that being said, we increased the inventory. We've increased that. The prices are still going to increase, but they're also going to increase those incentives, just because, they still need to make those sales, and things are slowing down in that regard. Okay, so hopefully that answered that question. Let's see, Rob, which area provides a slow and easy lifestyle? Well, my friend, pretty much every 55 plus community, except the villages. They're doing stuff in the villages. But anyway, I mean, it really depends on what you're looking for. If you are 55 or older and you like the 55 plus lifestyle, that's one of the draws to those types of communities. They, you're basically surrounded by people that are same age demographic, same stage of life. Everyone's moving a little bit slower, figuratively and literally. They are retired or semi-retired, and so they're able to kind of have more of a kickback lifestyle. There's an abundance of amenities and activities for them to take advantage of. And I always remember this. Every time I would go to Esplanade at Highland Ranch, which is closed out now, but a beautiful Taylor Morrison 55 plus community in Claremont. Every time I would go there with clients, and every time, we would, obviously they're going to show off the amenity center and talk about the wonderful, advantages to living in that particular community. There was always a group of 5 or 6 ladies, and they're just sitting in the pool with their little floaties, and they're just kind of exercising and talking and chatting. And to me, that was the perfect example of just kind of an easy, laid back lifestyle. You've got your friends, you can go do a little splash around and kind of have a little ladies time in the morning. And then, you'd see people walking their dogs, and it's just very, very calm and laid back in that regard. However, if you don't want the 55 plus lifestyle, pretty much anywhere in Florida, I think that's one of the, if you don't like the hubbub and you want things to be a little bit calmer, like if you don't like the city, you don't like a lot of crazy activity, you want to be a little bit slower, less traffic, you want to have more space and land, Groveland. That's a good one. All right. Anyway, so let's see. Bevan, do you know if AG's Market in Hamlin is still going to be built, or is it canceled? And you asked, and it is canceled. Yeah, official. And next week, we actually were going to have her on this week, but she has COVID or had COVID, which, by the way, my son-in-law has COVID. So for everyone, please take care of yourself. We're not done with this crazy thing that has wreaked havoc on all of us. So as we get a little bit more resigned to the fact that we've been vaccinated or boosted or whatever, let's not forget that it's still out there. So just please be careful. But anyway, so Nicole Wilson is going to be here. She'll be our guest next week. Like I said, she was supposed to be here for this week, but it just got a little bit crazy and she wasn't feeling well. So
she's better now.
She is. Oh yeah, she's definitely better now. But at any rate, so we're gonna she's gonna give us some updates on things like that, because that is exactly what she does, and she can give us some great insight. So that's a wonderful question. So thank you for that one. Okay, so let me go back now to. You want me to? All right, congratulations. He just wants me to do congratulations. He's just directing me from over there. Here we go. Congratulations. Okay. This is so good, but it needs to be nuked again. Anyway, congratulations. Could you nuke it, please, dear?
I do it all.
You do it all. 30 seconds, please.
Yes.
Okay, anyway. Okay. All right, congratulations. So Marcia and Jerry, Alonda, Marcellus and Jessica, and Sue. So these are 4 clients, all 4 of which this past week have all had a very big momentous moment in the construction of their new homes. So we're very excited about that. It's in some cases, for 2 of those 4 people, they've waited almost 2 years for this moment. So, so congratulations to them. But because of what our momentous occasion is, we're going to pop right over to Allie Knows Nothing, because it's kind of ties in. So here we go.
Why is it important to have a pre-drywall walkthrough?
Okay, first of all, Allie does not know nothing. That's 2 negatives. That means she knows something. Okay, yeah. So Allie knows lots of things. So this is really good, because so her question is, why is it important to have a pre-drywall walkthrough? Is exactly what our congratulations was about. So all 4 of those lovely families all had finally their pre-drywall walkthroughs for their new homes that are under construction. So there are 3 touch points, and we'll talk about all of them separately some other time, but we're going to talk about one of them today because it references Allie's question. But there are 3 touch points where after you've contracted, let's forget all the chaos that happened and excitement and fun and fury that happened finding the home, contracting on it, and all that stuff, okay? Once you have found all of that and you're under contract and then we start construction, there are 3 touch points. One of them is the pre-construction meeting, which happens pre-construction, generally speaking. The second one is the pre-drywall, which we're going to talk about. And the third is a new homeowner orientation, which we're not going to talk about today. We'll talk about that another time. So the pre-drywall. So this is really important. The pre-drywall happens once your home has foundation, it has framing, it has roofing, it has electrical, it has plumbing, it has HVAC, it has your low voltage. It is basically ready for that drywall to go up. And the builders provide you with that opportunity to see the home in that stage for several reasons. Number one, if you had specific requests to add things, like maybe you needed special low voltage requests because you work from home and you needed something fancy. Maybe you added a couple of extra recess lights here and there. Whatever that case is, structural options. Maybe you pre-plumbed for a laundry sink, or maybe you pre-plumbed for a summer kitchen. Whatever that case may be, whatever you did, this is the opportunity to see it. Both for your satisfaction, so that we can go through and the builder will walk you through the home and they will show you, this is a three-way switch. This is going to go to a half hot, blah, blah, blah. But it's also a time for us to go, okay, like for instance, I had some clients, one of those 4 families, they had added 2 additional recess lights in the bathroom, in the primary bathroom, and they were not there. Not a big deal. We caught it. And the builder's going to add them. But it's much more difficult to add them later than it is to add it at this pre-drywall stage, because they can move things around. Now, when I say move things around, I do not mean that you get to change your mind and go, you know what, I'd really rather have 3 pendant lights instead of 2. So can we add one? No, that's not what they're doing. But you can confirm that your two pendant lights are centered like you wanted them, or that the 4 recess lights are there, or hey, you forgot to add this outlet up top, and remember we added one of those, and like, oh yeah, sure. Another example, a client added a little like a beverage fridge, and they forgot to put an outlet there to plug the fridge in, so oopsie. So those are really good reasons to have that pre-drywall walkthrough. Typically, if you're thinking about timing wise, it takes about, I would say, 45 minutes, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. It really just depends on how big your home is, how many specific additions you added to it. But it's at framing stage, right? So really all we're looking for is, yes, all of those structural options are here. They're where we ask you to put them. We're good. Let's put that drywall up and let's boogie on to the fun part, which is, all of the pretty interior. So that, my friend Allie and my daughter, is why that pre-drywall walkthrough is so important. And for my clients, that is, again, the second touch point on kind of being introduced to your home and allowing you to kind of see what it looks like. So anyway, good question. And by the way, if you have any other questions, don't forget to ask them. But while we're doing that, I'm going to go to, should I do the Zillow?
Do Zillow,
yeah. I'll do Zillow. Okay, so this is a doozy in Las Vegas. So I'm thinking about my friends Daryl and Jen right now. I'm wondering if they know where this home is located, but oh my gosh. So 6 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, 9,771 square feet. But here's what's cool. Do you see the courtyard? They created this, and I don't know what the Italian word would be, I guess, but this courtyard area, as this scrolls back through, I'll let you see it again. First of all, the home is gorgeous. So look at the pool, the exterior, they've got the theater, they've got the basketball courts. I don't know what you would do with all of this. The big wine cellar or the wine room. Lots and lots and lots of beautiful things in this home. I love that. Do you see kind of the slant, the ramp that goes up to where that piano was, but yet it was also a curved, like step up raised area. Really beautiful, lots of architectural details. The kitchen, the bar counter, really, really lovely. But what was really spectacular is that when you walk through, there's like that courtyard area, and they had like the little bistro set up there. And then there was even like a window, and Eric and I were talking, we're like, we wonder if it's just like, like a decorated window, is like a window door front, not an actual like store there.
I'm gonna go back to it for you.
Okay, he's going back to it. Okay, so look at it, what's coming up. So that's the front. Okay, now look at that. So you come through this little bricked archway into the courtyard area, but look at this. It's like, it looks like it's a little Italian street or something, right? They've got the little bistro lights right here where it says Allison's. I can't see what it says, but something there. So that's what we're saying. I wonder if that's just kind of like a mural or something. But at any rate, how spectacular and how fun. So that's a good one. It's only 6 million, 500,000. So, if you've got that laying around, that's a good one. But that really is beautiful. You know what I didn't notice though, is I know a lot of houses in Las Vegas, they don't have like grass, right? Did that have a yard? I don't think so. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. We really like that one. Some of them are kooky and wild and crazy. That one was just flat out gorgeous. So anyway, all right, there's a couple more questions, but before we do that, we're going to go here, and then that way I can finish up with questions. Oh, but I have something else.
I have breaking news.
Okay, Eric has
our light.
Oh, they are? Eric says we have breaking news. Okay, so here's a good little tidbit of
I'm just afraid that the power's going to cut out.
Oh, no. Okay, so if our power cuts out, it's because they are fixing a lamppost that's in front of our house. By the way, more power to like Duke Energy out here. Our street light that was like right by our house was not working. All the others were, but I wanted ours to work. So I wasn't sure kind of what the right protocol was. So we reached out to the HOA and they said we needed to reach out to Duke Energy. So we reached out to Duke Energy. By the way, super easy. I went to the website and literally right there, it's like report a street light that's out. I was like, that's easy. So I just clicked it. They came out a couple days later. They put a yellow piece of tape around it. And apparently Eric says they're out there fixing it now. So yay for that. Anyway, so that's exciting. So if the power goes out, that's why. Sorry, I'll try to wrap it up. Anyway, but yeah, so we're going to do some other questions here in a minute. But before we do that, we're going to try to finish up all of my fun stuff. We did Zillow. What I'm watching is what's coming next, but it's not going there. So it's not going. So we just won't worry about that. But I'm still watching New Amsterdam. So that's kind of what's happening on my end. I'm finishing it up. I'm in season 4. What are you doing? Oh, he's clicking on that. Okay. So yeah, so I'm still finishing up New Amsterdam. I'm in probably the middle of season 4. I don't even know if there's a season 5, so I'm getting a little bit sad because it's been really, really, really good. I've really enjoyed that. So if you didn't watch that when it was on NBC, when it was actually airing, let me know.
I was going to say,
okay.
They didn't put a Q, but...
Gotcha. Anyway, so that's a good one. I am obviously looking for another one because by next week I'll be on to something new. So if you got some ideas, send them to me. Real quick, so Big Tony 11, love that. Heading down in May, is it too early, excuse me, to contact you guys to see some communities? Moving is still 2 years away. So this is what I tell clients. I love the long-term relationship. I love to kind of follow along the journey and provide information. So is it too early for you to look at things? Specifics, yes. Generalities, of course not. It's not going to do us any good to look at a specific resale home because you're not ready. But if you're like, well, I don't really know what the areas are, well, then yeah, that's what we want to do, right? You can explore those areas. So you can determine if Winter Garden is what you like, if it meets your price point, if Groveland is what you like, if it meets your price point, if Lake Nona is what you like and it meets your price point. So that's really what I feel is going to be most beneficial. The other thing is to remember that in 2 years, everything is going to be different. So places that might be in your price range now might not be later, or maybe it's reversed, right? Maybe places that are not in your price point now become in your price point. If that makes sense. That didn't make sense, but you know what I mean? What you could afford now may not be what you could afford later, both good and bad. So I would say if you're coming in May, then let's definitely reach out. You can text me after this is over and I'll send you the link, and then you can fill that out and we'll have our chat and we'll just kind of give you an idea of things that you can do when you do come in May. But yeah, I'm a big fan of getting all of that work done in the beginning so that when you are ready, you can go, yes, and this is what I say, including and excluding is always progress. So if there are areas that you're like, yeah, I like it, I can't afford it, or yeah, I like it, I can afford it, that's definitely staying on my list, or yeah, I went out there, that's lower on my list of places that I can see myself living in. All of that is perfect information so that when you're ready to truly do this in earnest, then we've already got kind of a jumping off point. We know we don't have to start from scratch. We can kind of already, take a couple steps ahead. So definitely reach out to me and we'll get you set up in May. Like I said, specifics, resale homes, no, but can you go to communities and walk through models? Yeah, sure. Now those communities may be closed out by the time you are ready, but you might have gone, well, yeah, but you know what? I went in and I walked through those models and I know I love that Aspen floor plan. So that's great. Then you were able to see it as a beautiful model home. So we can definitely make it worth your while to have a good visit. So anyway, okay. So now the last thing I'm going to go to before I do my last questions is, how do I do it? I'm looking for my button. Hold on. The strawberry. Can you bring me my card? My actual card. Okay. So this is how to make a spiked strawberry milkshake. Now this is for Valentine's Day. We wanted to give you a special little treat. And so ultimately, just take a look at the ingredients. Some strawberry vodka. Pick what brand you like. Of course, alcohol is not necessary. Some strawberry ice cream, some strawberries, splash of milk. You're going to put it in the blender, make it smooth, pour it out. Have a fun little glass. I always like that. And then, of course, you can always garnish it with some whipped cream or some sprinkles or a strawberry or a piece of chocolate. And remember that if you are doing the alcoholic version, then you don't want to go cuckoo crazy. And the reason we did that is because we send out these postcards all the time. This is to like our neighborhood and to some of our people here. I know you guys, a lot of you don't have them. You're not on the mailing list, but this is an example. We just send these out. So this is the spiked strawberry milkshake. I love them. And what's funny is I have a lot of people that are like, hey, we love it when we get those because we save them and they pull them out. And that's great. So not only is it's a little advertising, but I like to give things. I don't like to just say, here, call me. I like to give you something. So there you go. There is your strawberry milkshake with a little splash here for Valentine's Day. All right, last little splash. Anyway, so a couple of questions and then we're going to head out because it's almost 10 o'clock and I know you guys have far better things to do. So let's go back to some of these questions.
Do your Q thing.
Do my Q thing. Okay, I'm going to do my Q thing. Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh, I'm so challenged sometimes. Okay. All right. I already did these, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I already did those.
Oh, fine. Let me find. I'll find
you find them. Eric's going to find them. So Ben, you had asked a question about Osprey Ranch. So that's what we're going to answer that question. Did you find it? No, not yet. He will find it. Okay. So Osprey Ranch added Surrey Homes and Rockwell to it. There we go. There it is. Yeah. So there's a question. Okay. So I heard that the investors who wanted to buy much of Osprey Ranch backed out. If true, what does that mean now for potential buyers? So by the way, that happens. That happens quite often where you have a builder purchases the land and then they sell off sections of it. So that's not uncommon at all, to be honest. Sometimes, there's all sorts of different, reasons for that. But sometimes they want to buy the land in the beginning. They wanted things to get developed and then they will sell it off because now other builders know that it's exciting. Maybe there's other builders that change their mind. They're like, don't want to, build in that market. But in this case, that land was, there are two other builders. So Rockwell Homes, which is also a part of Winding Bay. Rockwell will be in there as well as Surrey Homes. Surrey Homes actually had a small section in Highlands at Summer Lake Groves in Winter Garden. They had a small little section, which was typically a Canadian community. There were some other builders out there too, but so it's not uncommon to have more than one builder in a community. So whatever the premise was for them backing out or changing their mind, or whether it was something else entirely, the fact that we have two other builders in there is actually good. I always like to have that for the variety. Aesthetically, specifically within the communities. Summer Lake has like every single builder that I can think of in there. It's a gigantic area, lots and lots and lots of builders. There's Hickory Hammock was a community here in Winter Garden, had two different builders in there, even though it was a big gated community. So having more than one builder in a community is not unheard of. We're excited about kind of what those two builders are going to bring to the table. But yeah, that's a really good question. So at any rate, okay, so then
Allie added a question.
Allie added a question.
It's for someone else.
Okay, from Sharon G. Not sure if I saw it. What else is coming to the Flemings Road area? Any more neighborhoods to the Flemings Road area? Serenade. So you've got the Serenade. Is it Serenade? I thought it was Sanctuary. Serenade. Serenade over there. So yeah, there's going to be a few more communities, but
It's Serenade where?
at Ovation. Gosh. Anyway, you know what, honey?
What?
I love you. You heated my coffee, but you didn't bring it back to me.
Sorry.
Anyway, it doesn't matter because we're getting ready to say goodbye here. Anyway, so all right, guys, we were getting ready to head out of here.
Can I be fired?
He wants to be fired. No, can't be fired. Okay. Anyway, all right. So then, real quick, let's just do a double check. Make sure everybody has all their questions answered. Garrett, you said you missed the Sunday drive this week. That's okay, my friend. It was a little bit crazy here for a while. But we are going to actually probably later today get some more videos done.
Mineola next week.
Yes, Mineola is going to be what we do next week. We're going to give you a nice big update on that whole area, which is beautiful. I know this is silly, but I will tell you that in that area, so first of all, the Mineola area, we told you they had a new exit came off of the turnpike, which is part of what's making that area kind of just explode. That's exciting because you literally are right off the turnpike. You are right there in Mineola. The other thing that was nice, excuse me, is that they also had built that new Publix that was right there. There's also now some businesses in front of the Publix, which is very exciting. One of which is a McDonald's, my friend. I was out there the other day with some clients, and as we left, of course, I drove by and grabbed my Diet Coke for the ride home. Anyway, so lots of stuff happening out there. We're going to share that with you next week for sure. So for those of you that missed our Sunday drive, don't worry about it. We're gonna keep on trucking along. We've got some new model homes we're going to be showing you as well. And, we didn't really update you on the listings, but we've got some information to share on that next week. But obviously for today, we've all got to get going. We've got real jobs to do. So to everyone, cheers, my friend. Let me find my thing here. Cheers to all of you. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for spending some time with us on Monday mornings. I feel like we have our own little family right here, and I enjoy it. We're open to welcoming new family members in all the time. But for those of you that are here every week, boy, we just love you guys. Thank you so much. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you. We truly do. Cheers to you. Happy Valentine's Day. And where is it? Where is it? And I see it. I found my button. All right, guys. I'll see you later. See you next week. Bye.